So after weeks of brouhaha over the Office of the Political Ombudsman and whether or not it was up and running, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, has said to the public that yes, there is an individual who is working to ensure that the Office of the Political Ombudsman carries out the function expected of it, someone who the public can make reports to, someone who the political actors can complain to when their rivals are guilty in their eyes of infractions. And so today we'll talk to that lady. Not a mystery woman, but certainly someone you'd want to hear from, to hear just indeed how she is going about this very important work. And you'll be able to determine at the end of the conversation if what you've heard is sufficient for things to remain as they are, the status quo, or whether, like so many, you believe it should revert to what it was before this decision to put the Office of the Political Ombudsman into the ECJ as a working part of that whole process going forward. It's lead story on the CVM TV. It's Friday. Let's start the show. Yeah, so there's been weeping, wailing, gnashing of teeth over this issue concerning the Political Ombudsman's office and it being a part of the ECJ. The Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has said the government will not be changing course. There was an interview he gave where he said, look, he was frustrated at the lack of communication from the ECJ about how they were operationalizing the aspect of the law, the new law which placed the Office of the Political Ombudsman into the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. Not too long after that, the ECJ indicated, well, he came back to say that he had been told that there was someone who was actually carrying out the functions of the Political Ombudsman and that the ECJ had gotten its act together. Then the office itself communicated to say that, well, yeah, things are not as bad as it appears. We are doing what we are duty bound to do under law, and so all appears to be well from their perspective. Still, some people are still grumbling, not satisfied, but let's see if what we have is workable, if there is utility in the arrangement as is. Before we go there, though, of course, you know how we like to do this show. We like to give you a reflective, just in case you came in late and you don't know quite what the issues are about. We know that you're busy, your attention is being divided across many areas. So in case you've been busy, yeah, the issue at hand, just what is the issue at hand and why is it necessary to have this conversation on this Friday evening? We tell you why now.
The decision to combine the Office of the Political Ombudsman, the OPO, with the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, the ECJ, has sparked a lot of debate. In weeks gone by, many people have questioned whether the new setup is truly working and whether it can stay neutral. In February 2024, the government passed a law that gave the ECJ full control of the Political Ombudsman's duties. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck said this would make the system stronger because the ECJ has 9 members who could handle political issues. But some, like opposition spokesperson on justice, Senator Donna Scott Motley, are worried that this change has weakened the ECJ's independence and pulled it into political bias. Even though the law has changed, many people feel that the Political Ombudsman's role hasn't actually been carried out. Non-partisan organization, the Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections CAFE, has called for the reversal of the 2024 legislation. They also worry that since politicians are on the ECJ, it might not be able to fairly handle complaints about political behavior. However, the ECJ has come forward to say it had been carrying out the functions transferred to it from February 2024 through the implementation of a dedicated unit at the office of the ECJ. But people are still unsure if the ECJ can manage these extra responsibilities. There's still demand for a separate, independent political ombudsman to help keep the election process fair. That way, the ECJ can focus on its main job, and a different body can handle political misconduct. We discuss on Lead Story. Courtney Lewis for Lead Story.
Thank you, Courtney. And my senior videographer, Lefron Thompson, loves the word brouhaha, which means a noisy or overexcited reaction or response to something quite opposite in this situation. After the break, though, the lady speaks for herself to tell you how she has been doing the job and how she intends to continue doing the job from this point on. More on Lead Story after these.
All your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. We've got everything, stocking top brands like CNCs, Philips, and Allen Bradley. We guarantee quality and reliability. Shop with us and save with even free island-wide delivery. Conditions apply. Visit us at Shop 8 Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in electrical business.
At Noel Holmes Hospital, we see hope every day, but we also see the need for more equipment, more support, more care. That's why the Guardian Group Shine 5K is so important.
Our rural hospitals are lifelines for so many, yet they're sometimes overlooked. Through this year's Shine 5K, Guardian Life is privileged to stand in support of the Noel Holmes Hospital. Your support means better access, better care, and brighter health outcomes for families in Lucy and surrounding communities.
The Noel Holmes Hospital is proud to be one of this year's beneficiary of Guardian Group's 5K Run Walk. We're very grateful for this initiative as it will provide us with essential equipment, help us with infrastructure, which will in turn help us with staffing.
Thank you for running for us.
Welcome back to Lead Story on this Friday evening, beg your pardon, of Friday, May 9. All right, so she's the Registrar of Political Parties at the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, and her name is Lefron Thompson. She joins me this evening to talk about her work carrying out the functions, part of the functions of the Office of the Political Ombudsman as she dovetails with the body of the ECJ, who ultimately have a decision-making power. Good evening, welcome to Lead Story.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right. First of all, how long have you been with the ECJ and in what capacity?
I have been with the ECJ since 2016 as the Registrar of Political Parties, where I am responsible for monitoring political parties' compliance to include registration and their compliance with the requirements of financial reporting and campaign financing. Most recently, my role has been extended or expanded to include coordination of functions within the Political Ombudsman Division, wherein I act as a liaison between the public and the Political Ombudsman, which is comprised of the 9 members of the Electoral Commission. And the process includes complaints intakes, reviewing complaints that come into the office, and preparing much of a brief for escalation to the commission, which will deliberate and decide or instruct what action should follow, say a case being put on the table. And you can appreciate that when a case is submitted to the political ombudsman, settlement may emerge or rise even there at the table between the parties being involved, or it is that they may designate that a further investigation be carried out. And from that point, it is when our office will have responsibility to conduct such investigations, collate findings, and outline what are the issues which are affecting the particular case, and again, report to the commission for their deliberation.
Okay. So from the point of your original post with the ECJ since 2016, how many of those duties that you were responsible for carrying out, how many of those are similar to what you're being asked to do now, if at all?
Okay. All the portfolios or the responsibilities fall within oversight function, and the the responsibilities of the political ombudsman being to oversee the proper conduct of political actors during an election season, it is right within the realm of work that we conduct here at the Electoral Commission, looking to see that there's compliance with the requirements of registration, compliance with the requirements under the law governing election campaign financing, the requirements for reporting in order to retain registration, and similarly, the requirements for operating in a civil and decent manner at the point of elections.
So if I may, Lefron, so based on your substantive remit, it was a natural extension of duties to ask you and your office to do this thing, given what you've been doing since 2016, is what you're saying?
I think it is a competent fit, given that which we do here at the Commission.
Okay, all right. So now with your new duties, so are you operating as a sole officer, or you have a team, a unit working with?
There is a team in that I am the head of the unit, the Political Ombudsman Division here.
With how many people in it?
There is a case officer and or administrative assistant. We also have at our disposal investigators who are spread afar afield, and also we have any other particular skills or quality that require for assisting our investigations that can be contracted by the Commission. So it is on a case-to-case basis, but of course we have a network which spreads across the island for helping or assisting with our investigative processes.
But so let's call it the permanent staff. So yourself, your administrative assistant, and your case officer. That's
case
three.
Officer, and the Commission has at its disposal a legal department.
Yes.
And we have, of course, an able body in the Commission themselves, made up of reputable men and women of history in public office and the law.
Okay. All right, so I'm a member of the public, so I call to make a complaint. Who do I ask to speak with? You, the case officer, the admin assistant, who do I interface with first as a member of the public making a complaint, filing a complaint?
You may ask to be put through to the Office of the Political Ombudsman, and of course you may ask to speak with the registrar, anybody who is attached to the unit. We are all capable and competent, able, willing to deal with matters that come into the office.
All right, so just ask for the Office of the Political Ombudsman and you'll get one of those officers. Okay, so when it is that the situation may dictate that you have to, I don't want to say someone, but you have to call in a political representative as part of your investigation. Yes. Who is it that will interview that person when they come? Is it the panel that is in the panel comprised of people in your unit? Is it members now of the ECJ who get a piece of the action then, or is it too early for them to get involved? How does that work?
Remember, George, I said that the Political Ombudsman Division and the registrar in particular acts as a liaison, really a conduit moving to the Political Ombudsman, which is really the Commission.
Right.
So what we will take cases in, we'll examine them to see if it has jurisdiction within the Political Code of Conduct and that which we do in this office. If it does, then we prepare a case brief, if you'd say, and we submit that for the attention of the Commission. They will examine the case before them, and then from that, they may derive a decision or arrive at a decision, or it may be that they will require further investigations. If they approve an investigation, then it reverts to the office to carry out that investigation. We will work from an investigation plan to see that which we require to be gathered to prove the different allegations before us, and having done so, then we will again put a final report before the Commission, who will again deliberate and come to a final decision. This decision may be publicized and then informed to the parties involved.
Right. And pardon me for asking the question the way I did, but it's all intended to ensure that all of my viewers are very clear on the steps as you are outlining them, so they can be sure as to how the office functions. All right. So given your expanded role and responsibility, I'm going to ask a question based on the fact that much has been made of the point made by the Justice Minister that the ECJ is taking on all these things without the need for additional budgetary allocation. How is it that you're carrying out these functions, playing an expanded role without the need for greater budgetary support?
Let me say that the The ECJ has informed the public, of course, that it has been carrying out this function within the allocations that were given to it as a commission, and that there had been no additional budgetary allocation. So far, the powers that be, they have designated a budget to the unit, and that would have gone into setting up functions that we spent a great deal of time trying to establish before it is that we would have come to the public. So planned currently is an expanded public education campaign. We are having greater interfaces with the public, and there has been a system of receiving and processing complaints. Some are more publicized than others, of course, but the work has begun since a year, and it continues. It is now visibility. It has become a priority currently for the commission and this office.
Right. So that last point that you made as I go to the break, just to reinforce what Lefron has said, because again, many people are saying the fact of no additional budgetary space being given to the ECJ meant that in reality, the Office of the Political Ombudsman inside the ECJ would have been constricted. She's saying no, the ECJ, within what it was allocated to do the business of the ECJ, they have found a piece of that allocation to put towards the unit, and that is what is carrying the unit through as it does this very important job. More after this break. This is Lead Story here on CVM TV.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams. Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
In a world where innovation meets tradition, agriculture is evolving like never before. From the latest sustainable farming technologies to age-old practices passed down through generation, agriculture is
precious to me.
I love the animals. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I love working.
Join us right here on CVM TV every Sunday during news at 7 as we explore the people, the science, and the breakthroughs that are shaping the way we grow, eat, and live. You don't want to miss it. This is Farming Forward.
Back with us here on Lead Story, speaking with Lefron Thompson. She's the registrar of political parties inside the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ. Her unit is now responsible for being the primary liaison between members of the public making complaints about political activity in this election season, or well, at any time, and the ECJ, the commissioners, the 9 commissioners. And she says her office has been expanded, responsibilities expanded. Nothing different, well, not much different from what she was responsible for before. She's been with the ECJ since 2016. It's a natural association, her unit and these tasks, and that she has been on the job and that she has the tools at her disposal to do what has been asked of her. The difficult part, Lefron, is this. Jamaicans expect that the change made by the Justice Minister will allow the Office of the Political Ombudsman to work better than it has in the past. And I don't want to drag you, and I will not drag you into the politics behind this thing, but I have to ask this question nonetheless. We've seen in the past where the Political Ombudsman's Office has issued directives or has called on certain political actors to come to the office to begin to resolve certain issues, those calls have been ignored and people have publicly defied the office of the political ombudsman. As liaison, how do you intend to conquer this if it does happen again? And given the capricious nature of our politics, it's not far-fetched to think that in the heat of the political season, that defiance could well come to the fore.
Okay, I think it is important to first acknowledge that which the law gives capacity to do. The law outlines that the political ombudsman is responsible to conduct investigations and into allegations of political misconduct, any abuses of power, or any conditions which are covered under Section 19 of the Constitution. Now, it does not have prosecutorial powers, of course. However, it is enabled to make recommendations, issues advisories, and also to make statements which make public censure of statements which are public censures, which really express disapproval for action. Now, as it relates the actors responding to the instructions or the recommendations of the political ombudsman, then that becomes really a matter of public accountability. If it is that your actions are subject to sanctions and you refuse to obey the recommendations of the legal authority, then it is that you are subject to public scrutiny. There's reputational damage, even media scrutiny we'd expect. And also that would be put to the public to really judge your accountability in this certain age in which good governance is concerned. Now, the political ombudsman still retains that power to make recommendations, to make public declarations, and how it is that it will enforce these powers than what would have happened before in the previous office. That is yet to be seen. However, there are options in which the political ombudsman's declarations or reports may even lead to legal action. Cases which can be submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, or the police even, for further investigations. So it really makes sense, really. But before a situation intensifies, that any member of the public who is so called to respond to the instructions of the political ombudsman does so. And the commission being even involved, this is political division is not new to the commission, I'd say. Pretty much our functions or roles between the previous office of the political ombudsman and this office, there were issues of conflicts that had to be dealt with and settled at the very table, that this commission is now charged with responsibility to conduct the responsibility of political ombudsman. I think the commission is in a fit place and position to conduct this responsibility, given its current authority, its legal expertise, and also the experience in electoral service and management.
All right. Bear with me as I put this other one to you, if it is that you've spoken to it already, but again, it's for the illumination of the viewers watching. So your unit is responsible for taking the complaint, investigating the complaint, and then passing. So what I want to clarify is this. The commissioners of the ECJ themselves, who are, of course, the political ombudsman broadly, your unit does not make recommendations based on your investigations. So what then do you submit to them for their consideration? Do you just present the findings of your investigation broadly without recommendations, and then recommendations come from them? Explain that for me.
We submit the findings, and there may be recommendations given what is listed in law, what is allowed. These are recommendations that follow in the preparation of a full report. However, the final decision rests with the members who sit on the commission.
And therein lies a challenge for me and the challenge for some people, because they're saying, here we have a unit playing a very important role untroubled since 2016. I'm talking about you now and the people who work with you. Many of them perhaps would have been there from that time, maybe later, and just say, well, you could have a situation, or you could have situations where a decision comes from the ECJ based on an investigation that your unit does, and it comes out in the wash that the decision that causes angst was based on a recommendation coming from your unit. And now the invective of the political tribes, and however you want to say it, we have political tribes in Jamaica, especially at election time. And people are saying this heat is unnecessary to bring to bear on Ms. Thompson and her colleagues. Do you see it that way?
No, I don't. The recommendations would not in any way be partisan. They'd be supported by what is listed in law. So it really would be outlining the findings, perhaps pointing to what the law specifies. And remember, the options available to the political ombudsman, remember, you will recommend remediating actions, of course, steps that could be taken to remediate the situation. So basically, there is a mediatory process. The actions of the decisions of the commission really emanates from the commission, and as I said, recommendations are. It's if we want to think of it as an academic way of saying, producing this full report, the findings are listed in law and we will outline as a conclusion. However, the decision comes from the political ombudsman.
Hear you on that. Lefron Thompson, thank you very much. I wish you all the best. You're going to need the public's support. I hope you have thick skin, because I can tell you, when these tribes are fired up by the heat of the election campaign, they take no prisoners, and it's scorched earth from them. And I hope that you and your unit can stand up to what may come. And we hope the worst doesn't happen, but you know how we are. You've lived here all your life, I'm sure, so you know what you're dealing with. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best, genuinely.
Thank you.
That's Lefron Thompson, Registrar of Political Parties at the ECJ, heading the unit that coordinates the response to complaints on the ground from political actors and the public, passes on the findings to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, who then make the decision. So don't go and attack the lady and her team. They are doing the investigative, the coordinating work. If you are to blame anybody for anything, talk to the commissioners at the ECJ. All right? That's my time here on Lead Story. I make way for Curlin Brown, who has the news at 7.
When I was sick, the doctors and nurses here at Bustamante Hospital took care of me. They made me feel safe and gave me hope. But sometimes they need a little help too. That's why so many people run, walk, and shine to help kids like me.
One of the major challenges the Bustamante Hospital for Children faces is that we have outgrown our physical infrastructure, and we are in need of additional medical equipment.
Every step you take helps make our hospital better, new equipment, better care, and more smiles.
Hope begins with care, and care starts with all of us. That's why we're proud to support the Bustamante Hospital for Children through